I'm speaking this morning with Maestro Gerard Schwarz, a conductor extraordinaire, a name that is so familiar to our radio audience here for his many, many recordings, years with the Seattle Symphony Orchestra, a great Mahler cycle with the Royal Liverpool when you were there with that orchestra, Gerard, and your all-star orchestra that we see on WHRO TV here. Ask you a quick question about that all-star orchestra. It strikes me as being very similar to the orchestra that Abato put together, Lucerne Festival over in Europe. You've got the greatest players in this country, and looks like you're just having a ball with it.
Yes, it is similar to what Abato did in Lucerne. And yes, I have some of the greatest players. And yes, I have a ball. When you have musicians on that level giving their all, it is such a joy to hear it. I mean, I remember when I gave the first downbeat for the last movement of the Shostakovich Fifth Symphony, I was just knocked out with the incredible sound that these great musicians could make and the sensitivity. That it's like conducting a 90-piece a string quartet. I mean, it's just they listen so carefully. They're so in tune. They're so observant, and I do feel like we're making music together. It's an extraordinary experience every time I work with them. And now, we have over 20 shows
Yes,
that
you
we've
do.
done, and we have 7 Emmys, and we continue to reach, thank goodness, millions of people.
And people can buy those on video, so I'll give you a little plug on that one.
Thank you.
And also your wonderful Delos recordings. I remember years ago at the Public Radio Music Conference, Amanda Haygood would come out and hand out those Delos recordings. We'd all grab them as quickly as we could so we could get the latest David Diamond or Alan Havanis or some of the recordings you do. I did want to ask you very quickly, that make sure you don't get stereotyped as just a conductor of American music. Frederick Fennell told me years ago that, it's kind of wistfully, he said, I conduct a lot more Mahler than I do Gustav Holst. But every time I do a concert, they want to do Gustav Holst.
Sure.
You do such a wide variety of music. But you probably should get at least the American Presidential Medal of Freedom for the American series. You've put together so much, Hovannes and Piston and Hansen and all of the other. You've won a number of awards for your programming, and the programming you're doing for the concert coming up this weekend is typical of that. This is part of the Virginia Arts Festival. You're going to be here with the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. How many players are you going to have actually on the stage with the COVID spacing?
I think with the spacing, we're probably having in a neighborhood of 35 to 40, something
Okay.
in that area. And we made a program specially. Yes, I thank you for noticing. It is a what I would call a typical Schwartz program, but with a little more imagination, even because the Virginia Arts Festival, as you know, has always been a leader in coming up with interesting ideas, interesting formats. And originally we had a big orchestra, and we were doing a whole thing about the water, and it was an extraordinary idea. And of course, when the COVID-19 hit, we rethought it and came up with a smaller orchestra, and then focused on American music. And nothing could make me happier.
We're going to have Ondi Marie Moore. She's from Chesapeake here in this area, and now famed operatic soprano. And you're going to do Samuel Barber's Knoxville Summer of 1915. I can never hear it without hearing Leontine Price, but it's going to be great to have Ondi sing that with you. But you're doing Darker America from William Grant Still, which is a marvelous piece of music. It almost sounds like it could have been maybe written by Gershwin or somebody like
That's
that.
right.
It's got that 20s sound to it. And the Copeland suite from Appalachian Spring, I guess you'll be using the reduced orchestra.
Reduced version,
Yeah,
the
for-
original version. Yeah.
But the piece that I'm curious about is Alvin Singleton's piece called Eine Idee ist ein Stück Stoff, or an idea is a piece of fabric, as it translates to. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Well, Alvin is a composer who I've followed all my life, because he's absolutely fantastic composer. He was really probably Robert Shaw in Atlanta did more for him than anyone else, and he was a composer in residence in Atlanta. And then he moved to Europe, and he moved to Vienna, And what happens to David Diamond did the same thing. And a lot of other composers spend time away. And when you spend time away, you do lose contact. So Alvin's name kind of disappeared from consciousness in a sense because he was living in Europe. And then he came back not that long ago, and I started looking at his works again, and I found this particular piece. Of course, I'm looking for pieces that we could do with smaller ensembles or string orchestras or something like that because of the issue we have with social distancing and so forth. And I found this piece, which I find to be absolutely mesmerizingly exquisite. It's a combination of the blues. It was written dedicated to James Baldwin, the great writer, and a salute to the waltzes of Gustav Mahler. I mean, you'd think that how can you compare the blues, this kind of art form, with a waltz that Mahler might have written? And he does it so fabulously and so poignantly that I did it down in Miami this year. And then when our whole idea of the program changed to become American, I thought, wouldn't it be great to do it again? Because I'm such a great fan of his and of this piece.
I'm intrigued. Of course, you've got the Palm Beach Symphony and the Frost Symphony there, University of Miami, where you're on the faculty down there. So you've got an orchestra to do this, and now you're going to bring it up here with the Virginia Symphony. And, of course, Knoxville Summer of 1915 is an absolute classic from Samuel Barber. But the Aaron Copland is a great finale for this concert. Again, it's one of those programs where you have won awards in the past for your distinctive programming. It's an all-American program, music from some really distinguished African-American composers, and we've got the voice of Aundi Marie Moore. Have you worked with Aundi before?
No, I haven't. It was a suggestion of the festival. In fact, they've been so fantastic in their musical ideas, and so doing Knoxville, of course, it's one of his masterpieces, written in 1948, and it was Eleanor Stieber and Koussevitzky who did it originally. Of course, I'm a great Koussevitzky fan because Koussevitzky did more for American music than any other conductor in history. More premieres, more important works, not only Americans, but Europeans as well.
And fostered so many conductors. There was an article years and years ago in High Fidelity. There was a tree. It was called Cousie's Kids, and all of the different conductors who had come out of the Koussevitzky camp, so to speak, one of those being Russell Stanger, who for years was the music director of the Virginia Symphony. So, yeah, I agree with you there. The Koussevitzky commissions alone, for the American music is just something extraordinary.
What's also extraordinary about those Koussevitzky years, yes, and Bernstein and Lucas Foss.
Just mention a few other guys.
But what was fascinating to me is how much of the music has lived on. You could do a lot of premieres, and I've done a lot of premieres, and of the hundreds I've done, how many enter the repertory? Well, in the case of Koussevitzky, I don't know, maybe half, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Whether you've got Martineau or Chavez, or, of course, all the great Americans.
Yeah, the Boston Symphony 50th anniversary alone generated a lot of great
Symphony of Psalms and the concert music of Hindeman. I mean, just extraordinary. He had incredible taste. And he's always been, even though I never knew him, obviously, he's always been a hero for me.
Great. Well, you're kind of a hero for us with your many great recordings, the All-Star Orchestra, all that you have done for music, and we're finally going to get to see you on the podium with the Virginia Symphony Orchestra. The concerts are Friday evening at the Ferguson Center and Saturday at Chrysler Hall in Norfolk. And, of course, you can get tickets from the Virginia Arts Festival, 282-2822, the number, vafest.org on the internet. Gerard Schwarz, conductor extraordinaire, as I said, and champion of American music and conductor of all music. Wonderful. Glad to have you in the area, and we look forward to seeing you on stage and maybe seeing you again in the future one of these days. But, Maestro, have a safe travel up to town, and we will see you on the weekend.
Raymond, thank you so much. It's a joy to talk to you, and I so much look forward to this next week. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.